Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing with plenty of sun this morning, with mainly just some high clouds around the area, seeing a slight breeze out of the south and seeing those temperatures warming into the mid 60s. Overall, we're going to see a fairly nice day today. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions developing as we move into the afternoon, with a slight chance of seeing a wind advisory, but no precipitation or lightning expected. We'll see a few low-end chances of rain as we move through the next 2 days, with the next best chance of more significant rain moving in as we get into the weekend. We take a look at the current surface analysis. High pressure, the periphery of this high pressure is still in control over the local area, going to keep things quiet. And as this tighter pressure gradient moves in over the region, we're going to see those winds start to elevate as this system tracks to our north. Eventually, as we move into the day tomorrow, we're going to see this cold boundary sink into the local area. Going to bring a very slight chance of a light sprinkle early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, will actually help to potentially keep some of the precip chances out of the area later tomorrow evening. Looking at the upper level winds this morning, fairly light winds through the column out of the southwest near the surface, more westerly as we go through the mid levels, and northwesterly to northerly as we get into the upper levels here, but all below 20 knots, and seeing our peak wind of 26 knots at 1,000 feet. The freezing level is right around 11,000 feet. If we take a look at the current visible satellite, we see just those high clouds streaming through the area. It does look like we could see some clear skies in the next hour or so before we see some additional high clouds building in later into the evening. But so otherwise, just a mostly sunny day as we move through our working hours today. We'll take a look at the European model here, see how we can expect things to play out the next several days. Again, as mentioned, that area of high pressure tracks off to the southeast. Tighter pressure gradient moves through over the area this afternoon. Slightly breezy conditions. Slight chance of seeing a wind advisory during the hours today, but overall things looking dry. We'll keep the breeze up as we go through the overnight and early morning hours of Wednesday, with this boundary starting to sink down into the local area. Overall, it does look like a mainly dry boundary as it sinks through. Can't rule out a light sprinkle early right around sunrise tomorrow morning, but won't be anything very impactful. And that boundary looks to stall just to our south and west, and we'll see kind of a backdoor front area kind of come in as we potentially see those onshore breezes starting late in the day on Wednesday. Wednesday does look to be another mild day before those winds turn more onshore. We will have the potential tomorrow evening of some showers popping up along that boundary off to our south and west. So with that boundary there will help to minimize the impact of any of those showers moving into the local area. So just keeping a very slight chance of that occurring, with a possible very slight chance of a shower thunderstorm late Wednesday into the evening time frame. We'll go into the day on Thursday, see that shower activity dissipate. Thursday looks to be overall a cloudier day, but still fairly pleasant as we move through the day. Once again, going into the evening, we'll see another system tracking well off to the northwest, and some showers, possibly storms, developing off to our west. It does look like that will stay off to the west, with just a very slight chance of an isolated shower tracking into the local area. So overall, looking mainly dry as we move through the end of the work week. Moving into Friday, we see that system tracking off to the northeast, and we will start to see a boundary approach the area late Friday into Friday evening. That's going to bring a chance for some showers, possibly some thunderstorms as we move into the evening time frame. We can see the European model here fairly dry with that first boundary. Other models indicating a bit more activity pushing through with that first boundary, but this upper level trough continues to track into the area. We'll see another disturbance tracking along that as we move into Saturday. And Saturday looks like we'll see a good chance of some widespread showers and thunderstorms as we move through the daytime hours and into the evening as well, and possibly lingering into the early morning hours of Sunday, as is indicated here by the European model that has the activity lingering the longest into the morning hours of Sunday, but should see things drying out as we move into the day on Sunday with some clearing skies, and this area of high pressure will try to build into the local area. You can see here the European model shows some possible pop-up showers, possibly with some upper level support on Sunday, not looking very likely, or right now looking like an outlier but a bit far out to really narrow that down. So overall, expecting dry conditions for Sunday, as well as into Monday as that high pressure continues to remain in control to start the next work week. For the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, just looking at a yellow risk for those elevated winds as we move through the day and into the afternoon hours, expecting those peak winds out of the south, 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 24 knots. So it's just below wind advisory criteria. Can't rule out uh, briefly exceeding that 25 knot limit, so keeping that yellow risk for that as we move through our working hours today. Expecting a high temperature of 74 degrees this afternoon with mainly just some high clouds around the area. And as we go into the evening, we keep those high clouds around, as well as some slightly breezy conditions with those peak winds staying up around 20 knots through the overnight and into the early morning hours of Wednesday, and just that very slight chance of a sprinkle as we move into the start of the day on Wednesday, but not looking very impactful. Tides running slightly below normal. Wednesday and Thursday, each evening, we'll have a very slight chance of a shower in the area, not looking very likely. And the trend has been downward as we went from yesterday into today. So otherwise, just mostly cloudy conditions. We'll see a very warm day for Wednesday with a high of 80 degrees. We'll cool down as we go into Thursday, but still slightly above average with a high of 70 degrees. Warming back up as we move into Friday. We'll see some breezy conditions developing again for Friday, and then as we go into the evening, we'll have that chance for some PM showers or thunderstorms, looking at about a 50% chance as we move through Friday evening, with a better chance as we move into Saturday, a high still in the mid-70s, and looking at a 70% chance of more widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms pushing through the area with that system. Will remain breezy with that as well. We'll see a cool down back to seasonable temperatures as we move into Sunday. Keep a 30% chance of lingering rain into the early morning hours of Sunday, but things look to dry out for Sunday with mainly partly cloudy conditions during the daytime hours. We'll see some breezy conditions continue behind that system, and again, back to seasonable conditions with the upper 60s, and that looks to carry on into Monday as well with some partly cloudy conditions to start off next work week. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.